COVID-19 is all anyone is talking about in 2020. Events cancelled, panic buying, among a bunch of other things. I interviewed carers, head nurses, and family members to see what their opinions of this pandemic are and if the government were too slow to act with their decisions. When COVID-19 first started, it was first seen as a joke, especially online. But as soon as it got closer to Europe, it soon became clear to everyone it was about to become a reality for us. As every country within Europe slowly went into lockdown, the UK refused to lock down and asked its citizens to wash their hands for 20 seconds to the tune of Happy Birthday. Now, looking at how fast countries within Europe were to lock down, were the UK government too slow to lock down this country? And were people worried about COVID-19? How worried are you about COVID-19?
Not as worried as I was. I think working with it constantly right through, it just sits in the back of your mind, really. And yeah, you wear your mask and you roll the dice every day you go to work, really. Mm-hmm. What else can you do? You got to go. Yeah. So, worry-wise, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
I personally am not too worried about it because I'm still in the mindset that I've been in since the beginning of it, and it's no matter how much we try and prevent it, if I get it, I get it, and there's nothing I can do about that. I can help prevent it by social distancing, washing the hands, and, adhering to the rules of the lockdown.
I am worried about it, and I'll be careful as I can. But when you've got to go out and about for your job and you've got to go and do things, you've got to put that in the back of your mind and keep calm and go, just to be as careful as I can not to get it or pass it on if I do get it. And follow all the advice.
All anyone really talks about, it's everyone knows someone who has had the virus or it does have it right now. So, yeah, I think it's worrying for everyone, especially as I'm at high risk with my heart condition. I've got to be careful. My flatmate Irene, she's been really careful, and so that's really nice. We're both in the same boat, so that's quite nice.
Do you feel as if the UK government were too slow to act when it came to lockdown and implementing social distancing?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it was really good because Ruth kind of picked up on this really early on, like January, February. Like, my God, this is going to be huge, but the government were really playing it down. So to me, it was like conflicting arguments come out. It's like flu, it's herd immunity, and we're not doing anything now. And all the information coming in was like, this is going to be this is going to be pandemic, this is going to be massive, you better take some precautions. I think he's going to have blood on his hands.
I got in contact with one of my managers and scheduled an interview. I travelled to my work in hopes my manager would comment on their experiences of working in a hospital through this pandemic. So I got to the hospital to do an interview with my manager. However, due to a conflict of interest with the communications department, I have to wait on permissions, so... Even though the interview with my management sadly didn't happen, I still got in contact with people who are considered key workers and how were they dealing with COVID-19.
It's been weird. Of course, everyone's more cautious. Loads of people have been in quarantine. Work have been really good with that. They're saying if you've got anything, even the slightest little thing, don't come in.
Pretty much like 99% of my team has been furloughed. Like, the only ones left in the food and beverage department are myself, the manager, and the assistant manager. That's it. That's all there is left in the department. And after speaking to a lot of my team and seeing how they're doing, a lot of them just want to come back to work. Kudos to my team. They are a bunch of workers and they are amazing. And I wouldn't replace them for anything. I love them. But, like, they do want to come back to work and they do want to keep themselves busy, and it's gonna leave a huge mark on the business that I don't think we're gonna recover from very quickly.
I think Boris Johnson should get his finger out of his and just sort it out. He needs to stick up. I mean, he did, but what's it done? It's a half-assed job. He needs to pull his finger out and get something sorted, because otherwise everyone else is going to do something.
I also got in contact with a head nurse on how the hospital they work at is dealing with COVID-19. However, they didn't want their identity to be known, so they sent their answer in by text. This is what they said. This pandemic is like nothing we have experienced before. The fact that the vacancy rate for nursing positions in the NHS was at 40,000 just before the pandemic has certainly not helped. If nurses were valued more and paid a wage that reflects their worth, then there would be more staff already working in the system during this pandemic. And thus, absolutely no need then to bring retired nurses out of their well-deserved retirement, and no need to qualify nursing students 6 months before they are ready. Through this pandemic, a majority of people have been buying things such as pasta, rice, and toilet paper, the newest form of currency in this country. So one day after work, I decided to visit my local Morrison's to see how bare the shelves were. When this footage was recorded, it was not even 2 weeks after lockdown was implemented. Vegetable shelves were cleared, pasta and rice shelves were also cleared out, and unsurprisingly, most of the toilet paper was sold out. So I asked those who I interviewed how panic buying has affected the way they shop.
The problem I've had, being maintenance of the care homes rather than the care side of it, when they first shut all the shops down, I couldn't get anything to actually repair the care homes or get the bits that I need. Then it was a case of they had the online service, but with B&Q, you would log onto their website 7 o'clock in the morning, and it would just come up, you've got 2 hours before you can actually get on the site. You'd get on the site and then it would crash.
Oh,
so for about 3 weeks, I've just been using stocks I've got. Now that they've opened the shops and you can go down there, every man and his dog is down there.
You definitely have to adapt. There's some bits that you can't get, and it's not the end of the world if you can't get certain things. You just got to adapt to bits and bobs, really. You just got to learn and go to different, especially going to the corner shops because they have more stuff in stock. I've realised, especially around here.
It's affected my shopping for work because even in the big the companies that you use in industry, they're having trouble with their suppliers. We've tried very hard to stay on menu for the residents at the care home, but there has been a few days where we've had to go off menu and we can't get what they want.
It made it very hard to get basic stuff like bread and milk and toilet rolls. It got to the point where we were going out every day to get like 2 or 3 items because that's all we could get, because that's all they had in stock, and we had to go out every day just to get stuff before the lockdown was imposed. It had a huge impact on everyone, and I couldn't even, the main thing I do is if we need something, I will go to the 24-hour Tesco and I'll get it after work.
Despite all that's happened with panic buying and the personal stresses of coronavirus, there's only one final question that is left to say. Do you feel like the UK government is doing a good job regarding COVID-19?
It's hard to say. I think the PPE side of it, they should have taken note from China and started stocking up earlier. It's not things that go, and it's things that will be used all the time, as and when in time, if it hadn't have resulted into a pandemic.
Yeah.
You know, it's always worth having those sort of equipment. I don't know, really.
It's kind of my answer to this is going to kind of be a double-edged sword, because there really is no good way to measure whether or not they're doing a good job, because this is a new situation and something that we've never really been in before. Like, we have had like worldwide pandemics like swine flu and Ebola, but never on this scale. And it's, on one hand, they're doing the best they can. On the other, it feels like they could be doing a lot more.
There needs to be more done to help. I think, especially at the beginning, where we were just told to wash our hands, that should have been like the start of, all right, let's get things sorted, let's get the PPE in for nurses and make sure it's all safe. But of course, everyone's doing the best they can. No one knows what's going to happen. I think things are really confusing at the moment, and things need to be done.
No, not at all. I mean, I didn't vote for them anyway. I think Jeremy Corbyn would have been much better in this situation. Having a socialist, you know what I mean? It's like caring about people rather than caring about money. He's a capitalist, you know what I mean? He's a buffoon capitalist. And I'm like, no, I'd rather boo Boris on a Wednesday night. Do you know what I mean? Go out, just have a go at the government and say, you are true, you know, you've done really bad. You have blood on your hands. You killed many